Hi, hello, it's me. I'm back. I'm a woman of the people, and I'm giving the people what they want. More vampires, SMP. So obvious spoilers for up to episode 3 because this is content, because we need content, because we need something while we wait. Anyways, so I'm doing essentially a Deadpool. Who do we think is going to be the next vampire, if at any? Because I personally would not be surprised if we don't have a vampire next episode. I don't think that will happen, but I do consider it a possibility because I don't know if there was like a specific amount of episodes that they wanted to make and they were supposed to do one person per episode because this is the first time we had 2 people. So I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. But we need content, so we're doing it. But I'm gonna make you play along with me. Feel free to type your list in the comment. We currently type your list in the comments. We have currently 8 town to choose from. Yes, yeah, 8 town. Okay, so I'm gonna be mean and make you play along with me and not tell you who I think is what in what order. So I guess you just have to watch the whole video, or you can just look at the chapters, and that's cheating. Don't do that. But essentially what I'm gonna do is explain the circumstances I think would cause this person to get turned. What happened? So obviously Avid is in the lowest tier. Avid is nothing. Not happening. Bro, my God, can you see this? Do I need to move it? The glint. Maybe we need to move to the floor again. The floor is vibes. We're moving to the floor. Welcome to the floor again. People. Yeah. Okay, to the floor we go. Because the floor has less light that glares in places that suck. Okay. Ha! I like that better. Okay. So. Okay, that's good enough for me. Something like that. We can always move back. There we go. Good enough. Okay, well, while I'm fixing this, Avid. Avid is the least likely to be turned because the vampires don't want to deal with him. Like, full stop. Full stop. They're like, we're not doing that. We're not touching that. It's great. So I feel like Avid is in the like 5% category where I'm like, yeah, no, that's not happening. The only way I see this happening, and the reason why he's any percent at all, is if he gets into a fight with someone and it happens on accident. Like, I would not be surprised if there's like, oh, oops. Oopsie, we did that. I know they can just full try and like kill instead of turn, but I'm not exactly sure on the mechanics of how that works. So far, I've seen any time a vampire that kills someone, you know, they turn into a vampire. You know, that's kind of how it goes. So, some poor unfortunate soul accidentally does this, and it is just, it's not gonna end well. It doesn't end well for anyone. Anyways, so Avid. Full accident. I would put our next least likely to be Abolish. And there's a few reasons for that. Abolish is like one of the like most chill members of town, I guess. People are up here higher because they're more likely to do something stupid. That's why certain people are ranked higher. I'm like, you're gonna get yourself into trouble. So Abolish, I don't feel like is going to get himself into trouble. He might go off alone. That is what I would guess would happen. Is he got jumped by himself. Bad timing situation. Yeah. So bro got jumped because he was wrong place, wrong time situation. Sausage is who I would put next. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Sausage. Sausage is also lower because
not to metagame, but I was in Sausage's comments, and Sausage replied to a comment, not by me, by someone else, that was like, they can't turn Sausage, he would have too much fun as a vampire. And he's like, no, please. So, I don't know how much self-preservation Sausage has in the vampire department. So, he might go asking for it, kind of, maybe literally. We'll see. The other reason I could see it happening is that he charged somewhere with Martyn, and yeah, that has not ended well in the past. Charging in. Hint, hint, hint. Someone's become ready. Anyways, the next person I have up here is Drift. Drift. Okay, Drift is like one of the. I'm like drawing backwards. If only I was left-handed. Maybe I should just change that. It's too late to change sides. I probably should have sat on the other side. It's too late now. Anyways, Drift, I see getting. I feel like this is personal. Like, I could see. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if that would happen. It depends on if. See, if Avid is particularly stupid this episode and particularly too heavy-handed with Owen, as mentioned, cough, cough, cough in my other video. If you were here, you probably have already seen it. But Owen doesn't seem like the type to take out his vengeance on someone specific, on other people first, but like he might. So if Drift is the one who gets turned next, it's probably gonna be to like mess with Avid emotionally, or as like a strategic move, because Drift is one of the cooler heads in the town, and so if you kind of get rid of everyone who's like stable, you kind of have a volatile town that's just ready to, as Cleo mentioned, she's like, I would go after the people who are more level-headed and competent. And I was like, oh, so I know where you're going. So this is either a targeted move or it's a targeted move. It just depends on what flavor of targeted move. I don't think anyone would really like go after Drift unless it was for a reason, if that makes sense. Anyways, Ren. Ren has been having a fun time charging into places with Martyn. And so I see his demise being met by being a little bit too brave. So we shall see, but he seems to be Mr. Battle Cry. Mr. Ooh, let's charge in. So that doesn't tend to end well for people. In third, I have Pearly Pop. Purely because nothing has happened to her, okay? Like she's gotta run out of luck at some point. This might be my biggest cope ranking, because like Pearl can mostly handle herself, but like personally, like I feel like Abolish and Pearl are kind of in the same situation where they're like fairly competent but might go on their own somewhere and just get like oops. Oopsie, you're with us now. But like, nothing has happened to Pearl. It would be wild if the next episode still nothing happens to Pearl, okay? Like, if anyone wants to watch Pearl's POV, you'll be like, did anything happen? I've heard things, but I haven't seen anything. That isn't true. She's seen like a teeny bit, but like basically nothing. It's crazy. Because I have Pearl up here in the 20% range because something needs to happen to Pearl. Nothing has happened. It's frankly wild. Next up, I have Legundo. And Legundo is up here because when Cleo says something, I believe her. If you're not privy, Cleo mentioned, hey, let's get the doctor next in her video. And Cleo doesn't make empty threats. That wasn't a threat, but I'm inclined to believe Cleo when she says something. I've seen the live series. The other thing is, several vampires have mentioned, like, well, if you want to help, just, like, be immortal and you can figure it out with us forever. I don't know if Pyro will specifically go after that, but I could see Shelby, or I don't think Shelby would do it. No, I could see Pyro targeting Legundo specifically because he was like, well, you said you wanted help, so be immortal and help us, okay? You know, welcome to our boat. Yeah, because Pyro has not been particularly shy. Thank you, random commenter from last video who mentioned that Pyro's the one who got Cleo and not Scott. You're the goat. Thank you. Because I did go back and I did like frame by frame it. I was like, oh, yep. But they were right next to each other, so I can see why everyone else was confused. Yeah, so with that, Pyro and Scott are tied for the amount of people turned. And Pyro wasn't even a vampire until the end of episode 1. Anyways. Words. Obviously you figured out that I think that Martyn is going to get himself turned into a vampire. Bro was like inches away from death last episode. And as I mentioned in my other video, Martyn is looking for someone to fight and something to punch. And I don't know if he can cool his jets. Mr. Guns Blazing himself, if he can cool his jets, he'll probably be fine. But it seems like he keeps getting himself into fights he can't win. So I don't see that going particularly well. The only reason I could see that one of these two not happening is if the vampires decide to back off on Legundo, specifically because like Apo is able to convince Cleo, or she doesn't have a good opportunity to go after Legundo, and probably Cleo gets Martyn to cool his jets. So it would really depend on Cleo. I think Cleo has a lot of say in who the next vampire is, essentially, because, you know, she's kind of the one in town who's willing to do it. So we'll have to see. That's the other reason Pearl is a little higher, is because the hits on both roommates being vampires is increasing. So that's the other part of the reason Pearl is higher. But yeah, the other thing that's possible is that there is nobody. I did mention this earlier, but I think it's entirely possible that nobody happens this episode. I think it's like low. It's like really small % chance. In fact, I think it might be more likely that we get Actually, that's not true. No, we'll see. It depends on how aggressive the 4 vampires who are known are deciding to play. Because if they're just gonna go like collect stuff and let the town fight itself, we'll see. Depends on what style. Because if they're gonna go after them, it seems like the town's gonna move in a group for the most part going forward. So really, Cleo's the only one with a shot and wants to get anybody. So yeah, I foresee the vampires cooling their jets a little bit. We'll see what the town does though. But Cleo is in charge, so it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see what happens because I think some people might want to try and talk to the vampires. You can't exactly tell someone you want to go into the middle of the forest to try and talk to a vampire, and so you have to leave on your own, which is dangerous and suspicious. We'll see. That's gonna be interesting. We shall see. Anyways, so tell me what you think. This is just like a general average. I wasn't thinking too hard about it. I just think that these are more likely versus these ones. Leave your list in the comments. Let me know. And 4 more days.